welcome to another episode of Spiritual Life. I wanted to speak today on a subject that is somewhat taboo, but I feel drawn to because I've had some very interesting conversations in the spiritual community recently about this subject, and I thought, why not make an episode? A lady said to me, you have some very interesting points, why don't you open a channel and start doing your spiritual work? And I thought, well, I already have, so why not put this on there? And it's about the subject of hell and Satan. I knew I'd have to get to this subject eventually. I didn't think it would be so early in my days doing my work, but I think it's only right that we do talk about this. I want to sort of put this little caveat at the beginning of this. My findings and my truth are my findings and my truth. I am not trying to offend anyone, scare anyone, change anyone's opinion, or in any way hurt anyone by voicing the opinions you'll find in this episode. They are personal to me, but through what I found, I feel it only right to share it with you. And the reason being, I'll tell you about it in a moment. Okay, but I just wanted to start the episode by saying, take what resonates with you, my lovelies, and then leave the rest, okay? Because I don't want people feeling like I'm trying to steal their faith away or anything like that. So, shall we begin? Good. Okay. When I was growing up, I kept having encounters with beings not of this world. I was one night chased home by something that was bounding entire rooftops in one leap. And I had to run really fast to get home. Another night, I looked out my window and saw a four-legged creature that definitely wasn't human, on all fours, you know, or an animal that you could call an animal on all fours, and that scared me. And it turned out to be a non-human entity, and I had an encounter. I've had psychic attacks of these beings that I at the time had no reference for. So all of these creatures, from the smoke-like entities to the creatures that were otherworldly and didn't look right, they all went under one banner: demons. I, in my state as I was, because I had no reference for comparison at those times, was in fear, and my brain jumped to the only thing that I could describe it as: demons. These encounters carried on. I had attacks where I was clawed, and attacks where I, was pinned down, and I had attacks where I was seeing glowing eyes that had no body blinking at me out the window. And again, no basis for comparison. So guess where my mind went? Hell and demons and damnation. Now, I used to be fascinated with demonology, and I used to want to be an exorcist. And I had so many films. Yeah, Hollywood, they're so guilty for so much bad content that could fill a human brain. Honestly, it's all rubbish. But then again, when you fill your brain with rubbish, you're going to create rubbish. So I was seeing all these things, and I was like, I need to help people who are being haunted. Now, at a certain point in this process, with the repeated exposures to these beings, on my spiritual awakening path, at the time, I thought I was being trained by my guides and by heaven to do the work I was going to be doing as a rescue medium, and when I was going to encounter these beings. That wasn't it at all. I totally missed the point, because again, my brain went to a place of fear, combat, and victimology. You know, I was victimizing myself by this imaginary creature that I had placed these experiences under. So everything was demons, everything was hauntings, everything, you know, and I was bringing these experiences to me. And the thing is, when I was on my spiritual awakening, I found that there's only one being, and that's us. We are a unified consciousness called the One. I've spoken about this in another episode of Spiritual Life, and I really recommend that you watch it. But we are a unified mind of a multitude of voices called the Christic consciousness of the One being, which is the one son, daughter of God, who's also masculine and feminine. So we actually come under that creation banner. Now, long ago, when we had a thought, a group of us all decided we were going to leave and go out on our own to discover more about ourselves in a contextual basis. So let's put it this way. When you are living in heaven, you have all the information at your fingertips, but you lack one very important thing: experience. You can know everything, but if you have not got the practical experience to go, so it's quantitative and qualitative data. You can have quantitative data, but you don't have the qualitative data. You've only got half of the experiment. You've only got half the information, right? So a soul has to experience itself to know thyself fully, which means setting up an environment in which to have that experience in a tactile, balanced way. How do we balance it out? Through duality. In order to experience what we are, we must also experience what we are not. And that comes through the realm of duality. So we, with the help of God, created the third dimensional realm, which includes Earth. And we come here and inhabit bodies and live our lives, having planned out those lives in heaven. Now, as light beings, we can choose who we are. Some of us will go back home to heaven and choose the light and choose the love of God. But there are others of us, souls that enjoy the darker, more base side of our nature as light beings, because we do have duality within us, the light and the dark. It's part of who we are. You can't get away from that. And that's why when you're doing shadow work that I always talk about in my card readings, you are working with the darker side of yourself and getting to know that and to understand it and to love it and incorporate it in yourself as a whole, so that you are full in your entirety, balanced as a person. Well, light beings that prefer the darker, baser natures reject their connection to God. They reject the love light of God, which is the energy source that feeds the soul. And so they live in the darker realms, which humans now call hell. You could call it a hell dimension because it's cut off from God. That's hell, 110%. Not being with your creator. I many a times I actually sat there and thought, what would hell be for me? And it would be not being near God, not sharing the love I share with God. I could not be without it. It is my core. It feeds me. And so these people in hell, these souls, in hell, well, it's not hell, it's just the lower dimensions, right? These souls, over time, and through the acts that they do, and the time spent away from the light, it starts to deform their vessel. It starts to deform their light body into an unrecognizable form, and they become more and more beast-like in their view, like in the way they've seen. And some souls aren't even born, and they gravitate to the dark, and they are inhuman spirits. That doesn't mean they're not us. It just means they've never inhabited a vessel on a human plane of existence. And people always go, oh, inhuman demon spirit. No. I have come to find that there are no such things as demons. There's only light beings, those who inhabit the light and those who inhabit the dark, baser sides of their nature. In order for these beings to have energy, they feed off the light beings that they encounter. And humans are light beings in a vessel, so you're uniquely designed as a battery, because you can exhibit the lower energies that they live on and live by and need. So how do they do this? By inspiring fear in you. If you actually say to that being it's a demon, they will use those fears in your mind to play off of. So, you will actually be encountering one of your brothers and sisters of light who is just a bit hungry and needs some extra food. So they're going to scare you for the fear energy, or they're going to inspire arguments in your house because they can feed off the anger energy. They are just energy beings, just like us, who are in bodies at the moment. It's just they don't have a body at the moment, and the only way they know how to exist is to live off the lower energies provided by the light beings that are still connected to God. And it is also why they shy away from God, because they have rejected all the things that God is. But there is no such thing as demons. I know for a fact that heaven is a place of pure, unconditional love, and so is our Creator. I know for a fact that God would never throw any of his children out of heaven. They chose to leave. And that all beings, whether they be heavenly or lower dimensions, deserve our love, our forgiveness, our prayers. And if you think that you have a light being so say a dark one that is plaguing your house, stop feeding it. Cut off its food supply. Be no longer afraid. Shine your love light so bright that it will repel them, because love is the thing they don't like at all. Love is the thing that keeps them away. Shine your loving light so brightly at them. Try to give them a cuddle. Go, oh, I'm so sorry you're suffering. Here, let me ease your pain, brother, sister. Let me help you cross over to the light. Hang on, I'll just pray to Archangel Michael and ask one of his blue flame soldiers to come down here and escort you home. They do not like things like that. And if you're feeling in trouble, call on the angels of heaven to come and surround you. You are a being of the divine. You are God's child. Therefore, you are protected at all times by God's love light and the presence of angels that surround you daily. There is no way that you can be possessed because your vessel houses God. It's impossible. When these beings convince you, I had one attached to me, right? I'll tell you the story, right? When I was in my early 30s, I was in a very negative, abusive relationship. And I went through having my bones broken, and I was in so much torment, and I'd been so broken down by this relationship's abuse that I was a shadow of myself. When this person left, one of these beings decided they wanted to capitalize on the pain and suffering that existed in the walls of the house and of my weakened state, because they can only affect you if you're in a lower vibrational weakened state. I'd been up all night with these really negative thoughts, and it wasn't my thoughts, and I'd been fighting with this inner demon, and it was an inner demon. Little did I know, I had a negative entity stuck to my back, and it was feeding off of my energy. It fucked up, excuse my French, because it sat down on the bed, and the bed moved and depressed, and it got suddenly very cold around me. And then I knew instantly what had been happening to me all night was that I had had a negative entity trying to capitalize on my weakened state to feed off me and to make a home within my vessel for itself, attached to my energy body. As soon as I realized what was happening, its number was up. I sent a prayer immediately to my archangel, Archangel Michael, and I said, remove this entity from me at once. It's not welcome here. And I literally felt this leeching energy being pulled off of my vessel. It had connected to my heart chakra, and it was pulled off. And as soon as angels did this, I just felt this immediate, like, total normalizing of my own vessel, and the voices stopped and peace returned, and I felt 100% myself again. And I just let out this amazing sigh, and feeling that energy being ripped off of my vessel was brilliant. It's happened once since, and that was when I was being fed upon during a nightmare, and I had the same process happen again whilst I was asleep, and Archangel Michael ripped another one off of me. Because they will capitalize on any negative situation if they can, but they are nothing more than an annoyance. If you see them as such, they are easily removed, and they are nothing to be scared of. They are merely our brothers and sisters who have become somewhat enamored with the darker realms of existence, and in desperate need of energy replenishing, but they do it by making yours low, which it cannot be allowed to pass. You are a sovereign being of God. Okay, you're God's child. You hold God's flame light, love light in your heart. And I say this because people go, oh, sacrilege, you're calling yourself God. I'm going to say this now, and I keep repeating it to somebody in the face. No, I am not. I am not God. God is God. I am God's child. God says to his children in heaven, I am the original, you are the copy. Just like you're copied from your parents' DNA. What makes you think you're any less significant as God's child, which you are? Why would you think being made in the image of God, which your love light soul is, this, what's in here, your spirit, is made by God, okay? You are 110% original. There is no one else like you, and there never will be, and God doesn't make any duds. You're 100% perfect. You cannot be possessed. There is no such thing as demons. There is no such thing as hell. Now, hell, yes, it exists in the Bible, but the Bible's a book and it was written by blokes who wanted to control the populace, okay? It's a nice story to scare people half shitless so that you think that you're going to die in hell and damnation for committing a mistake. I mean, how sick is that? Like, in the Bible, Aramaic means, in the Bible, in Aramaic is sin, right? Means mistake. Mistake. That's what it means in Aramaic. Mistake. Sin. Mistake. Yeah. You don't go and send your child to hell for making a mistake, do you? No. So what makes you think God would do that to you when God is unconditional love? It's impossible. God would never do that to any of his children, ever. He loves you. He's always loved you. She will always love you because she's a he and a her all in one energy being. Because God is energy. God doesn't have a form like we think of as a form. I mean, man gets made my image. Nah. Your image is a spheric orb of energy. You're an energy being, a light being. The orbs you see in pictures is more like God looks like. God's energy. And you inhabit a vessel, which I would say human bodies are machines, aren't they? They are the best organic machine there is, aren't they? They're awesome. And when you look through the micro and the macro, it is a copy and it scales down, scales down, scales down, scales down, scales down. But it always scales down like in a spiral down in the same identical imagery for each operating system. But your body is amazing because it's billions of living organisms, all doing different jobs, all with their own consciousness, in a consciousness, run by a consciousness that's bigger than its vessel. Huh? And then you've got your higher soul, your oversoul. It goes absolutely insane, absolutely awesome, because then you could go into like your atoms and then the quarks and the quarks. I mean, everything is just so amazingly well thought out, isn't it? But your vessel, made by you, because you do make it, when you're in heaven, before you go to earth, you pick your body. You pick, and each one will have a listing of all the things that could go wrong with it. You pick your parents. You pick everything to do with your life. There's only room for you in your body, right? You plan out your life. Earth is a school. In school, we make mistakes. But that's because we need to learn. You can't have a hell when you think of things in the realm of a school, okay? Which Earth is. It's a beautiful school. It's a copy of heaven, actually. Apparently it's a poor man's copy, but it is a copy of heaven. That's why it's called Eden. And as such, we're given free will by our Creator, okay, to come to this beautiful school. Free will, when I realised what free will was as a gift, I was so stunned and I cried, because it truly is the most amazing, wonderful gift from God that you, I, and everyone in creation has. You have the choice to make the best of every bad situation, to learn from every mistake without judgment from God. And you think, well, that's all right, but what about murders? What about everybody else? I'll get to that in a minute, right? It's beautiful because God said, I give you free rein to make your mistakes and to learn from them. See, Jesus talks about repentance in the Bible, doesn't he? Truly repenting and learning from your lessons are all that are required for your soul to learn their lesson and to karmically grow. That's why the karmic board exists in heaven, and why, if you do bad things, you will judge yourself poorly. You're the judge. That's it. Just you. Not Satan. Not demons. You. Now, when you actually get to the end of your life, you have a life review when you get to heaven. And any bad acts that you've done to another, you yourself will experience. You will feel their fear, their pain, their hurt, their loss. So imagine if you are somebody like Hitler. Can you imagine what he had to experience and endure through his life review? He had created his own personal experience of a hell-based existence before he got to go on and maybe karmically have to live again doing something to repay what he'd done. But there is no hell. Hell does not exist. Capiche? I hope this is making sense. I am really trying to put it in as best terms as I possibly can. So I think we've covered why people think energy beings are demons. I think we've covered why there is no hell. And then you go, what about Lucifer? Well, in order for humanity, when they decided that there was going to be a hell, to experience hell, God enlisted Lucifer to create a dimension for the lower dark beings that are, enjoying that baser level of being to exist, and to be the baddie in the storyline to ensure a perfect and full-bodied experience if a light being who believes in hell dies, so they can go to hell and experience it. You only believe in hell and experience it. That's it. There is no hell. Hell is from belief, because you're a creator being. If you believe in hell and demons, you create hell and demons, because you're a manifester. So what you believe in, you manifest. So rather than being afraid and in fear and in the lower base realms of reality, try bringing up your awareness to your heart chakra, to God's love and your true existence as God's child. If you start dropping those beliefs You make room for love and forgiveness. You make room for enlightenment. You make room for the true teachings of Joshua ben Joseph to come into your life. So there you go. There is no hell, there are no demons. There are only us, light beings of the one, Christed mind. Unfortunately, beliefs are so strong you can convince yourself of anything if you truly want to. And you can manifest anything if you're afraid enough. Fear in a manifester is something you don't really want to promote, because we are powerful energy beings. We are God's children. We in ourselves are creator beings. Yes, in this realm we don't create like God does upstairs, because it's much denser and it takes time for manifestations to come to us. So start focusing on the love aspect of you. Start focusing on God and the unconditional love that God is. Start focusing on your heart space. Forgive those who trespass against you. Don't look at another one of us and be accusatory to them. Sorry, it's late, I'm tired, I'm babbling a little bit, but don't be accusatory, be forgiving. Understand that in every human being on this planet is a part of God. And see that light in everyone. Look beyond the superficial of a human form to the spiritual side of their natures. Since I have let go of my belief in hell, and I let go of my belief in demons, and I saw these beings for who they truly are, all my experiences of a negative type have ceased. I now send love to all those in the lower realms, because they are our brothers and sisters, and I urge anyone else who resonates with this to start sending love, because not one of us goes home till we all go home. And just as there are beings in the light that we believe worthy, so are those in the dark just as worthy. They're just a little lost right now, and they need our lights to shine bright so they can choose to help us lead them the way home. I also send my love to Lucifer. He is an archangel and he's doing a job. Yes, admittedly, he's liking the job a little too much at the moment, let's face it, but he's still one of the brothers. He's Archangel Michael's brother. You know, he's our brothers as well, really. If you think about it in light being terms, we're all related. We all come from the same place. So let's start writing a new script, shall we, everybody? And rather than being afraid of the dark, let's shine our lights so bright there is no darkness anymore. Let's shine our lights so bright there is no ignorance anymore. And even the Pope, and if the Pope, the current Pope, says that hell was a story written, it's an idea, it's not real, I think, you can start letting go of certain narratives in this world. And I think it's advisable for your own spiritual mind and body, really. Who wants to go to hell before on their trip home to heaven? Not me. I'm just going home, mush. I'm not stopping on the lower realms. Nuh-uh. Thank you very much. You can keep that experience away from me. I do not need it or want it. Thank you very much. I know that Jesus's teachings teaches us that the demons that we face and Satan is actually within our own mind. It is not outside of us, it's within us. And that is very true, because it is our ego that is the combative, negative, lack-minded self that wants to keep us away from our light being self, wants to keep us away from being happy and warring with other people. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm big, you're small. It's so devilish in its nature, the ego. So we are warring with ourselves a lot of the time. And it's not necessary at all. We just need to stop engaging with the devil inside our mind and with the little self. We need to send it our love, sit it on a chair, and then just forget about it, I think. But that's who Jesus was warring with in the desert for 40 days. It wasn't Satan himself. It was the devils in his mind. He was warring with his inner id and his desires and the ego. Those are the demons that we face whilst being in our bodies as light beings. And those are the ones that we need to conquer, not outside of ourselves. There's no such thing as demons or Satan in the real sense, unless you want there to be. So I would say, Phil, if you can overcome your idea of hell and damnation and actually see it from the light being perspective of where we come from, which is God's kingdom, unconditional love. That's who we are, beings of unconditional, pure love. And the higher vibrational energies of happiness, joy, teamwork, compassion, those are the energies that we want to promote and to live within, releasing all of the lower vibrations through shadow work. Because let's face it, we don't need a hell when living in the human body can be your own personal journey through hell. Right there. You don't need any more than that. And there is no more than that. After we go home, which we do, we don't go to hell, we go straight home, have our life review with Archangel Jeremiah by our side. We have our discussion with the Council of Light, our elders, at the end of our life, to review and go over everything that we had wanted to learn and how well we think we actually did as to how well we did actually do. And then we go on with our life in heaven and have a welcome home party, which I'm so looking forward to. I cannot wait. That will be nice that day. I can tell you, I am feeling pretty bushed, and I'm only 45. God knows what I'm going to be like by the time I end my life. So, I think we're going to leave it there, and I hope I have made sense today. I really do. I hope I've managed to communicate to you why there is no hell, why there is no Satan, why it was an idea to control the masses, okay? Like, the Bible is so heavily edited. Seriously. Oh. Which saddened me when I found out that God's words were edited because they believed they weren't good enough to be in there. A man deserves, see what I mean? How ridiculous is that? I can tell you what God meant by that and what is in there and what isn't. Oh, really? Like, the one big one that I think people should take to heart. Reincarnation is real, and it was in the Bible. They took it out because they didn't want people to know that you can come back and have more than one life. You're not scared and you don't need salvation if you know you're coming back again, do you? It's a complete trip how Christianity has been shaped to ensure that you pay money to the church, that you put your bum on the pew every week, because you don't want to miss a day. You'd be scared that you will lose your salvation at the end of your life. You already are saved. You already have salvation. You're God's child. It means you always get to go home, and God never judges you and punishes you in the way that you think. The only person who does it is you, through your own choices and judgment at the end, your judgment of yourself. Because when you experience it from the other people's perspective, it can be pretty harsh to have to go through that. That's why Jesus says, judge not, lest ye be judged by the same measure. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge other people, because when you get to heaven, you'll be judging yourself. Enlightenment. It's not an easy road. Not by a long shot. But knowing that there's no hell except the one we make for ourselves, well, that gives you a way to freedom, to choosing good choices, and knowing that you could just go straight home to heaven and have a life with you and save the trip to the lower levels. I think that's a good thing to know, for sure. And that if you stop focusing on demon ideas and hauntings, guess what? They won't happen, because you're the one creating it all. You draw things to you as manifestors. Right, I'm going to leave this there. I think I've done all right. I hope I've done all right. If you think this was okay, then please do leave me a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to my channel. It is free. I upload spiritual life whenever I feel drawn to make a video. And today I just felt so drawn to doing it because lately it's just been demon this and hell that and damnation this. And I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, I have to say something. I just do, because none of that exists. And unless you keep bringing it into being, you're only scaring people and yourself silly. Stop doing it. We don't need it in our lives. We don't need the fear. We don't need the lower levels. We can let them go and start ascending to where we're supposed to be as God's children. Stop letting people control you. Stop letting people control you by fear and beliefs that just aren't true. You're a being of God, from God, and you return there. You have angels that surround you and serve at your feet. And apparently there's a lot of unemployed angels that are really hoping that you will ask for their help. So get to booking their services. You have so many waiting to serve the divinity within you. They see the God within you. That's why angels serve you. It's because they see the God within. They love you. I love you. I'm sending my love to you through the television right now. And I hope that I have actually given you a good night's rest, a good night's sleep, and you can let those thoughts, feelings, and beliefs go and really become who it is you're meant to be, a love-light being of the one Creator. I am going to sign off. Namaste, my darlings. I bow to the light in you all. I will see you soon with another card reading. I just got to upload the ones I did last week. Do you know, I've had a terrible week. Terrible week. Pain, ill health, PC problems. And none of it was created by the devil or demons. It's just normal life. Bye, my darlings. Take care. Until next time. Bye.